Today I want to talk to you about firmware updates for both the DJI digital FPV system as well as SharkByte. This week, both manufacturers have actually released updates for their software, and we have a situation where one appears to be actually closing down their system and the other is providing updates that is actually going to benefit users moving forward. The first thing I want to talk about is the DJI new firmware for the digital FPV system, which is for both the version 1 remote controller as well as the DJI Air units. This firmware seems to be laying the path for a new Air unit that we believe is going to be encrypted and will only work with new encrypted cameras such as the Caddx Polar Starlight. Further to that, I want to talk a little bit around my thoughts on where this is going and sort of address some of the concerns I see from the community that whilst the development on the DJI system seems to have come to a complete standstill, when it comes to actually making changes to lock out third-party manufacturers such as Runcam from making cameras, they're able to do that fairly quickly, and where that actually leaves us with the DJI system. Then we'll move on to talking a bit more about what some of the issues that are left are, the issues that users are still experiencing with this system, and then we'll talk about the situation with the Fat Shark update this week and just give you guys a quick update on that one. Now, before we jump into this, I just want to say if you like what you see, please do consider hitting the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the little bell next to it as well. That way you'll get updates when any new videos I may come out in the future. If you'd like to support the channel, there are links to Patreon as well as Buy Me a Coffee in the description as well. So first thing we're going to do is take a look at what this new firmware is. If I jump over to the desktop, we have the release notes, and it is a new firmware released on the 27th of the 7th, 2021, and the Air unit firmware is 01.00.0606. Now, if this all sounds familiar, it is because the version 2 goggles were already running this version of firmware already. The Air units and the DJI remote before now was actually only running 01.00.0600, whereas now they have brought it up to 0606. Now, the release notes state that the only change in this new firmware is added support for the new Air Unit Lite hardware. There is no other changes listed, and it simply says it is adding support for this new Air Unit Lite. Now, whilst there is no official information on what this new Air unit is, what the specification or changes are, we can take a bit of a guess based on the hints that have been coming out of various places. Caddx have said that there is going to be new Air units coming in the near future that are going to be encrypted, and they're only going to work with specific cameras such as the Polar Starlight that I've got here. Now, if we take a look over at Caddx's page, they also actually discussed this in their marketing for this camera, and they have said encrypted version compatible with upgrade version of the Vista. Now, currently, we have no more information on this other than that. All we know is that they've said that there's going to be new encrypted Air units coming, and we now have a firmware update from DJI that suggests it's going to support it. Now, today, as I've already said, we do not know if there are actually any improvements or any changes, but the reality is this firmware update simply says it has added support for the hardware. Nowhere does it say it's added any more features, and even if there were new features, they're not going to be anything that the users have been asking for, because that is mostly software related, and that would be added to both the goggles and the Air units as well. Now, the reason we're seeing these changes is because third-party camera manufacturers such as Runcam have released cameras that are compatible with the DJI FPV system. Whilst they are unofficial and not licensed, cameras such as the Runcam MIPI are working and provide users with an additional option that they didn't have before. Now, it's no secret that Caddx haven't been particularly happy about this, and there has been talk for a little bit of while around them releasing new cameras that are encrypted and new Air units as well. They've updated their packaging, so for instance on the front of the box for the Polar Vista kit you will find that it says licensed version on the front, and there's a scratch off area on the back that allows you to put the code in the website and actually check what you've bought is authentic. Now, it's not surprising that Cadex and DJI want to protect their agreement. They want to make sure that users are buying genuine products when they are being sold them, but it is a shame that they're going to make changes that could cause users problems moving forward. What's a bigger disappointment, though, to the community is that the DJI FPV system has somewhat stagnated from new features as well as having bug fixes, yet when a third party suddenly puts out a camera, they're able to quickly make new hardware and release new firmware as well to lock that out. Users have been left with various issues with the system as well as being left behind in some features. For instance, the DJI FPV system does not support canvas mode. This has been added to the SharkByte system, yet it does not work on the DJI system, and it means you're not able to take advantage of that improved OSD feature when using it on here. There are also a number of bugs that haven't been fixed in the system as well. These include the slow SD card error, the fact that if you leave your goggles in 50 megabits mode, you can't change it back to 25 to use audience mode, the fact that there are little issues here and there on the system that haven't been addressed. Now, I have actually put together a list of the most common issues that people have been talking about on the forums as well as places, and these are the problems that people are still seeing daily yet still haven't been resolved. It would be fantastic if DJI or Cadex, whoever is actually pushing the development on this, would put as much time into improving the system and repairing these bugs, add in things like canvas mode, as they are into blocking competitors from making compatible cameras. Now, as I've already said, today we do not know what the full situation is with this. It is clear that there is new air unit hardware coming. If I was you, I wouldn't be expecting anything major here. My belief will be, whilst it might be a slight redesign, functionality wise, I'm not expecting anything to dramatically change, and I believe the way the noise is sounding that this is simply going to be new encrypted air units to lock out third-party cameras. The unfortunate thing is the chances are it's also going to lock out the smaller cameras such as the Nebula Nano and Nebula Micro as well. Whilst that isn't confirmed, we're going to have to wait and see, and we all hope cameras such as the original DJI one, the Nebula Pro, as well as the Cadex Micro camera still work as well. The only camera we do know though that will work is the new Polar Starlight, because that one is marketed as being encrypted. Now, really, that's all I can say on this at this moment in time. My advice to you all, as I've said, is do not upgrade yet, hang back, and I will let you guys know when there's any more info on this in the future. Please do also let me know what you think about this in the comments of this video, because it is a shame this whole thing seems to be spiraling into a situation where we're going to have real compatibility confusion moving forward. Now, alongside DJI's release, SharkByte have also released a firmware update this week as well, and we're sort of in the complete opposite situation. Whilst DJI seem to be doing very little for users, we have SharkByte that are adding more and more great features to their system all of the time. Now, jumping over to the desktop, the SharkByte system is obviously the current system from them. There is a new set of goggles to come in the near future as well, which are going to be called the Scout HD, but we've currently got the standard system. Now, the update that Carl has posted on the DiviMath group is based on requests directly from users. They have added new OSD, so they've improved how the OSD actually looks. They've added a new auto scan switch, which allows you to actually turn the auto scan on and off. They've added VRX OSD recording, so you can actually see the status on that. They've added a pit mode that allows you to turn the power right down, and they've changed the recording mode options to allow you to select auto or manual depending on what you want to do. Another big feature improvement is the new addition of smart audio. Now, this is going to allow you to actually control the SharkByte system via smart audio, and it's almost giving you that two-way telemetry link moving forward. It's only compatible with the VTX-R only at this time, but it is really nice to see that. They've also added support for the movie recording format. They've added RF manual power calibration, and they've added an OSD off option for video recording, and they've also addressed some additional bugs as well. Now, whilst this update doesn't fundamentally change the SharkByte system, it really is stepping forward very, very nicely now. It supports canvas mode. We've had new ear units released. There's a new camera around the corner, and they are working on these digital Scout goggles, which are going to be an all-in-one HD box goggle, and you're going to have hopefully new higher power ear units coming in the not too distant future as well. Whilst DJI do have the development legs on SharkByte, it is catching up very, very quickly. And the fact that they are taking user feedback and the fact that they are pushing things forward at a fast rate really does begin to make it an interesting and viable option. I'm not saying today it's a direct replacement for the DJI FPV system, or it's capable of doing everything it can do, but it really is a system that I would suggest you look at, because the reality is it is getting fairly fast development and additional features are continually being added. It would be great if DJI could add at least canvas mode and get some of these bugs resolved as well, including the bugs around the ear unit having to actually be rebinded when you switch between modes and all of the other issues around that. If we could get this kind of stuff resolved, this system would still be very much ahead of the pack as it is. However, the others are catching up, and there's still talk of digital systems from other manufacturers such as Orca. So whilst this is king of the hill today, it may not remain the case. Now, that is pretty much it for today's video. It was really just to give you guys an overview of what the situation is. I'm going to put the list of bugs for the DJI system in a pinned post on this video. If you have any others, please put them below and I will actually add them into the main list as well. I hope if anyone from DJI is watching this, or Cadex, please consider putting as much development into improving the system as you are stopping RunCam making their cameras work. Users would love to see that, and it would give us all a bit more faith that this system isn't heading for a dead end. That's it for today's video. If you've liked what you've seen, as I've said at the start, please do consider hitting the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the little bell next to it as well. Also, if you're interested in supporting us, there are links to buy me a coffee as well as Patreon. It was only by you guys supporting us are we able to keep making videos like this. Again, please put your thoughts in the comments of this video. Please let me know what you think, and I will update you guys when there's more information.